All right, you ready?
Born ready.
We're ready. Do you want to mess with your microphone anymore and be
already-
more distracting this time? You want to test
I'm rubber,
since
you're
standing
glue.
A foot away, you want to test your volumes again?
These are my levels. Can you hear me?
Sound like, right? All right, here we go. I'm Josh Sigman, and I'm a mortgage lender. I'm also a geek for money, not just earning it and saving it, but literally everything about it. I love that money has rules. It has its truths. I love investment strategies, and I love making money work for us. For so many, money is emotional. For me, it's logical, like a puzzle. My passion is also helping others with their money. I love looking at people's finances, dissecting their puzzle, and rebuilding with strategy and purpose, and I'm really good at it. I'm making this podcast about my money strategies, not the things that are written in books or sold in programs. It's a podcast outlining the lessons I've learned and used for the past 15 years. These strategies help me and those who use them save more, give more, create wealth, and retire early. Let me teach you how to build your net worth. You ready? Welcome to Sigman Sense. Welcome back to another episode of Sigman Sense. We're going to talk about a fun topic that I'm very passionate about. I learned it from a couple of my own mentors. But what we're going to talk about is if you are a small business owner, if you have a team of one or a company of 300, I think this is a super important subject that people do not do a good job of, possibly because they're not educated in this area themselves. But I believe very strongly in teaching your team or your employees financial literacy. And so I'm going to go through a couple ideas, some things that I do for my own employees and what we do for a company, some things that I think are super important about it. But let me talk about the benefits, because you might be a small business owner thinking, well, that's stupid. Let me explain why it's super important. Number one would be growth, personal growth, right?
For your team.
For your team, yep. Personal growth. And actually for yourself too. It forces you to be on your A game if you're talking about money with your team. But personal growth in all areas is one of the things that I believe employees want. Whenever somebody feels like they're stuck, it's a bad thing in general. So this is a great area to work on. But number two, as a business owner, one great thing that it can do for you, separate of building a relationship, is it helps you with retention of employees, right? And why is that the case? Well, a couple answers. Number one is that when you show that you care about somebody, and what better way to say it than I want to help you retire, right? That shows that you care. Employees are more likely to stay with you longer term. You think about why employees leave companies. Mm-hmm. Usually the first three answers in different orders, depending on what you read, are a relationship with the boss would be one. The opportunity for growth would be a second one.
Totally.
And the third one would be money, right? The third one's money, not the first one. The third one, it's the relationship and the opportunity, right? And the reason why I say that third one, we know that people, just because, just look at the last 20 episodes or so, it does matter. It's not as important what you make. It's more important what you keep, right? So you can have an employee that is a very well compensated employee for whatever position they might be that is mismanaging their money, and they need to earn more money somewhere else.
This is what I've said. If you do not budget your money, there is no amount of money you make that will ever be enough.
That's exactly right. So when you teach people how to properly manage money, yes, there still needs to be opportunity for growth and to make more, period. But they're less likely to be looking because of the perceived need to look, because they're in a better financial spot. Yep. When your business goes up or goes down, they can manage the circumstances better as well. So that's the what's in it for you as an employer. I'd like to hear, because I do care about this and work with you and so many others on my team and my company. What do you think is in it for you as an employee? I'm just curious what you think.
So first and foremost, I'll start by saying that this topic is probably pretty foreign to most employers and employees. And the reason I say that is because when I tell people that you are my financial coach or you are our financial coach, they're real confused. The team it kind of makes them want to die thinking about sitting down with you and going over their budget. There's a lot of people that think it's just too close to separate church and state. So it's foreign. It is foreign for sure, but such opportunity, such a big deal. And so if you can wrap your mind around it and also feel like you are qualified and capable to teach, you should do it on your own. If you're not, then get someone to help you and then also help extend that service to your team. So we've been working with you on our budget for 4 or 5 years, and best thing that I've ever done. It's there's just so much benefit to it. But going back to most people on the team do not take him up on this offer. Like literally has to damn near beg people. Let me just look at your budget. I had to
finally trick some of them by giving him money to.
I was going to say,
we'll talk about that in a second.
So I say that to say that he had an idea that is money. Like he literally nailed it on the head because it gave the team a gift, but also allowed you to openly talk about some financial education and literacy with the team and kind of open those lines of communication. So it was money. What he did was gift each one of us on the team $250 to open E-Trade accounts. And before this, I didn't have an E-Trade account. I didn't even know that my husband had one that he plays with and just does like fun stuff with. And I'd never looked at the stock markets. I didn't know what Amazon was trading for. I didn't know that Tesla was having a huge run. So that in and of itself, just being able to open the app and see what's on it and see what companies are doing is, that in and of itself, I didn't know what symbols were. I didn't know what symbols were. So being able to have that under my belt, and now Randy and I have something to talk about. And, he's always telling me about how his stocks are doing. And, we bought into the same company. It also taught me how to look for companies, because basically you gave us all $250. You told us the intended purpose was to open an E-Trade account. You have to send, show me a screenshot of you opening it, and then I will fund the account. And you have to have your stocks or companies purchased or bought into these companies by a certain date. So you
couldn't sell them. You couldn't sell out of the account.
Oh, I didn't hear that. My bad.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
That is not travel money. It's got to stay in there and grow.
Just kidding. Mine is definitely a long-term plan. So I loved the parameters that were given because, again, it forced us to do the work and in a timely manner. But it also, really gave us the opportunity to do the research and really see, okay, well, here's a cool company that I like and that I utilize a lot. And here's what they've done in the past. Here's their trajectory. Is this a smart decision to purchase? Yep. And I know when I was making my decisions and trying to figure out what I was going to do, I would pick out my, a set of companies and send them to you, send them to Randy and say, am I thinking about this right? I think these would be good. No, you're not thinking about that right. So we had a lot of education there as well, as of what to look for, you know? And so nailed it on the head. I
love it.
Total win, boss win, hashtag, whatever you want to call it. So it was really cool. And it's also very fun to now talk with everyone, weekly or monthly, however often you bring it up in our meetings, our weekly meetings about how their stocks are doing and what everybody chose. It's just super interesting. So,
well, I love that. And so I want to take it a step further to hopefully encourage some other small business owners or big company owners, whoever's listening, to take a bigger interest in this, because there's some basic things that we can do that are super easy to implement that have a lasting impact with our employees. And if you're an employee, it's something I would suggest that you send this podcast to your boss.
Yeah.
And see if they'll work on it. So I'm going to kind of go through a list of a couple ideas of things that we've done that you can easily implement within your own company or encourage your boss to. The obvious first one is if you're a small company or a middle-sized company that has not yet bridged the gap to offering a matching 401k. I think that's the obvious. There are very few companies, as a statistic these days, that truly offer a matching 401k for their employees. And it's but also the ones that actually have 401ks and matching 401ks, not all the employees actually participate.
I was going to say that's
it's super crazy to me. It's free money. It's free money
because you get it.
Right.
But you have a newly graduated from college with student loan debt. One, retirement, not on the radar.
Yep.
All I care about is getting these student loans paid off. I need that money.
They care about the margaritas.
Well, I mean that too, but I can't give any more of my paycheck away because one, I just started working and it's beginner entry salary and pay. Yep. And I need to pay off these debts. Yep. So taking it a step further and really doing the math.
Explaining.
You don't even explain a little bit, just do the math and show people scenarios.
Yep. And this goes back to, anytime you're going to have a 401k or something like that, obviously you have to have professionals involved. They have resources. So you don't have to be a genius with 401ks. They have resources and you can ask them to train your employees, which we do biannually, if not annually, worst case. I think biannually we offer that through
twice a year,
for HR so that people understand how to do it. They talk about reallocations, things like that. But just getting the word out there over and over and over again, encouraging your employees to take advantage of it. Yes, it takes from the bottom line. Yes, it does. But over time, my team can recite my purpose for the team. The reason why I work for real, is to retire my team. I'm financially retired. The reason why I work is to retire my team. Okay. So if I use that as an overlying view of why I still do loans, then of course I'd like to retire sooner rather than later. So let's get on with it.
Come on,
girls. Let's get you guys retired.
Come
on. And so I say that lightly, but if you're a company owner listening, you've got a lot of people that have a lot of sweat and tears to build your business.
Yeah.
Right. Taking interest in helping them get theirs too. Right. So 401k is the obvious first one. Offering budgeting is a super foreign thing. So I thought that it's impossible to require. It is possible to require budgeting. The Core Training is a company I've worked for over a decade now out of North Carolina. In their employee handbook, you sign that you understand that coached personal family budgeting is a requirement of employment. You sign that to get the job.
Wow.
So they are every single employee from top to bottom. I don't care if they're a manager. I don't care if they're married or not. They're all required to turn in their personal family budget to the boss. I work for them too. I turn in my personal family budget to the boss every month. So there's an opportunity to help them grow. Let me explain this too from an employee perspective that you're missing. A lot of employees miss this.
Like almost everyone.
And
I missed it for a long time too. I fought tooth and nail.
But separate of the making money thing, a lot of employers are assholes. I get that. There are a lot of employers that actually give a shit.
Yeah.
And so, but we don't know what we don't know. Mm-hmm. And I would argue that I am more generous to those employees that I know are struggling because I know they're struggling. And I have the opportunity to jump in and help somebody out here and there. Whereas
how to help them the best.
How to help them the best, yeah.
That's a big piece of it too. It's going back to love languages. Yep. You want to give and show love in the way that people actually receive it. Yep. Otherwise, you are spinning your wheels. And so you can get into a place where I've done all of this for these people. I've done this and this and this. Well, if it's not what we need financially, then we're missing it.
Yep. And just
we're missing it. And that's frustrating for you.
Well, a lot of owners think, well, I pay them enough. Why don't they wrong attitude?
Right. And so
are you giving back? The community is a big one for the younger people. Are you giving words of affirmation to say, atta girl, if you're a words of affirmation person? Gifts are a great example. There's a girl on my team that is awesome and crushes it and hadn't done a family vacation in a lot of years. I happen to have a beach house and I found out that she was going to Port Aransas where I have a beach house.
Yeah.
And the beach house is paid for. It doesn't cost me anything to have it occupied. Right. But you would have thought that I saved the world when I said, hey, don't book anything. Just go stay at my beach house. Right. But I knew what she was looking for, and I was able to jump in there and save her some money.
And so
right?
you can hit the nail on the head,
right?
Rather than spin wheels and do it.
What's in it for them? What's in it for you? Like both parties win when you're more transparent around money and opportunity. So, another thing that's happened in the past, like when I think about bonuses, I've experienced this in my career too many times, where people do a really hard work. Part of their compensation package is a bonus, which makes it not a bonus. It makes it compensation. So an employer might think that somebody's ungrateful for not saying thank you for the bonus, but it was structured as a compensation package. So why should they say thank you? They did the job,
and it's already built into their needs for living.
Right. And what's interesting, like I think about Christmas time and things like that, right? Getting somebody what they wouldn't buy themselves goes way further than somebody giving a higher dollar value bonus.
Oh yeah.
Right. It just get them something they wouldn't buy themselves. That's a gift. That's active service. But let me go back into things you can do for financial literacy and just helping. Like I have in the past with some of the girls and guys that I've coached in the past, when I found out that they had a debt, like a credit card balance that was kind of stuck on them, and I'd seen their balances a couple months in a row, it was just the same floating balance, and they were performing at a high level. I literally, as one bonus, just paid off their credit card.
Yeah.
Right. Huge. Well, how do you think that went for our relationship?
Exactly.
Right? Now, if I'd given them money based on their previous spending habits, would it have gone towards debt reduction, or would it have probably gone to buy something?
Well, or here's the thing. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. They may not have known how to utilize the money.
Right. Yeah, that's very true.
And if there's if there is the mindset of it's a gift, this money is a gift, I'm going to use it for a gift.
Yep.
For myself.
Yep.
So
the
having
qualifier was you have to get rid of the credit card when I pay this off. That was
right.
that was the gift bonus, right? So to me, those are some examples of what's in it for both parties. If you can just see some transparency there. I'm going to talk about a couple things here that we do, but they're just weird one-offs. But these are some opportunities I think that that employers need to look for, right? So in the past, I've had an employee that was probably the max level of stress for not work-related stuff, like outside the office, stressed out, and was had some personal challenges going on, and money was really tight, right? And so at exactly that time, because we talked and this person shared, and I knew that she was struggling in other areas, on the way to work, she caught a freaking rock in her windshield, right? Of
course.
And that week she was supposed to go trade that car in to sell it for some money. And now she's got a freaking, which, a $200 windshield change at the end of the isn't the end of the world for me. But in that moment, that time, that was you could see this girl caved in when she showed up at the office, right? So because I knew what was happening at home, I didn't think, oh, it sucks, and just left it there. I had her windshield replaced while she was at work, right?
Oh, yeah.
But it goes back to, if you don't know, it's not that you don't care, it's you don't know how bad or good and where to put money.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
When you go back to financial literacy, a couple items that I would think that you should do in general is offer coaching around money if you're qualified.
Right.
But if not, you can use your own resources to help out your team. So for example, my whole team knows my insurance agent. They know my financial planner. You have homework assignment to get your damn will and trust done with my attorney, right?
Yeah.
But my personal resources, I make sure that they are really clear. Hey, if my team calls you, you take great care of them,
right? And
keep those costs down low. I've got an attorney that does wills and trusts, and my average bill is $6,000, right? For my team, it's $500 to knock out the basic stuff. So I can transfer some of my own relationships to take care of my team and to give them the advice. So again, if I was not well equipped in teaching people how to save, how to invest, what to do, my financial planner is extremely competent and confident and can do that stuff, right?
And you can maybe just drop those little pieces or little nuggets of information, in whatever meeting format you have, if it's weekly or monthly.
Lunch and learns. We've done lunch and learns over the years, over and over, where I'll bring in a financial planner during our lunch. I'll just cater lunch for my team. And then my financial planner will come in and talk about pros and cons and how to invest and what the 401ks and all this stuff. And his expectation is nothing. Like I tell him flat out, this is a courtesy to me as an owner and you have lots of my money. And guess what? Of course, 2-3 people utilize the services now. So there's something for them too. But it's just to weave in those conversations in education. I think lunch and learns are a great.
That is, I'm glad you.
Great example of something.
That's
you can
great.
do.
Yeah.
So CPAs, financial planners, insurance agents, all that stuff. One other thing I think is super smart for both the business owner, but also it's a great retention tool for employees too, is deferred comp. Well, whatever types of deferred comp that you can think of, right? Especially if it's geared towards long-term, right?
Okay.
So, key employees at companies, some companies, they can earn in the event of a company sale. Let's use that one. If they're a key employee in the event of a company sale, they can earn up to 1% if they're still there at the company sale. Well, the sale might not occur for 5 years or 15 years, but they can earn part of the sale as part of a long-term retention package. As an example. Yeah, that's a good question, right? Another one though is people that have kids. Those kids have to go to college too. So participating in contributions for gifts for college accounts for a retention plan, I think is something that should be done. But even if it's not for retention, it's a great way to show that you give a shit early on, and you help build somebody's college account just by doing a annual donation to that child's college account to show and help build. Because that's one of the big drags on retirement accounts is we all want to do what's best for our kids and whatever we can do for our kids. So unfortunately, our kids don't always choose a state school if they choose a school. And if they show up and they want to go to Purdue and it's a more expensive school, parents quite often write the check to their own retirement detriment, right? So helping contribute to a college account so at least their own retirement account's not going to get hammered is a great idea.
It's also, in that example, it's giving leverage, and maybe you're doing that for someone who has, you do it for one child or one family member, but it also then kind of starts formulating thought processes around
what am I do for the other ones?
What am I do for the other ones, right?
Yep.
And so I think just the more foundational building blocks about this stuff, basics on 401ks, and really outlining what it looks like, college accounts, and like you said, having a financial advisor come in. These are foundational things that we've already established. A lot of people don't learn from their parents. We certainly don't learn it from school.
Yep.
So where do you get it from?
Yep.
We have to provide an outlet.
We have to dive in and contribute and teach and educate and help. The biggest failure of the education system in America, in my opinion, is the failure to teach basic financial budgeting, basic financial ideas, basic financial concepts. That's the biggest failure. Math is great, but if you still don't understand that if you spend more than you earn, you're screwed in life. Right. You're still screwed. Right. So,
and spending more time on interest rates and compounding interest, all of those things that really, really come into play in life.
Yep.
I mean, that's just a huge.
Yeah. Instead, everyone cares about what's the $300 sneakers somebody else is wearing and what $1,000 iPhone they're going to buy because they don't have a freaking clue. Right. So let me kind of give 2 big initiatives that in the last 12 months I've done, and lots of my friends have done it as small business owners. Lots of us at the core have done it. One of my best friends in the world, Chris Ockert's done something I'm about to bring up too. But the first one's what you alluded to. So I was getting some pushback on a couple of my employees that I care about me being able to see their money. Let me help you. Help me. What is it? McGuire, Jerry Maguire. Help me help you. Show me the money. Right. Yeah. So in that vein, what I did, what you brought up is, I gave a lump sum of money to each of my employees if they, and only if they, opened up an E-Trade account, proved it was open, because they have to open it on their own because tied to their social for taxing reasons, all that. And then I Venmo'd them. So you're asking how does this work? No, I did not write it off. It was after tax money. I just Venmo'd them some money. And I said, now in the next week, so I started giving homework around it. And the next week you need to do some research and tell me a couple of different companies that you're thinking. So that some simple ideas came up like, well, HEB, great company.
Yeah.
It's a private
private company.
So we had people saying, well,
I loved hearing everybody's
right.
ideas too. I still have them written down, you know.
Do you really?
Yeah, and that's another opportunity too to just really see where people's minds are at,
right?
You know, and
well, it's again goes back to lack of understanding, but this is easy conversations, right?
Yeah.
So we had a team meeting that was not based around metrics and company crap. The whole meeting was, hey, so the Warren Buffett philosophies, right? Like invest in what you use all the time. Like Warren Buffett drinks Coca-Cola. He's a big investor in Coca-Cola, right? So
is it weird that I went literally totally against?
Right, you did. Well, you went for psychedelics. We'll talk about that in a second.
Can everybody please go buy some?
Right, of this one company.
Of this
right?
one company.
No, we're not pressing. We're not pushing that stuff. What I will say is, that was a conversation. Is hey, what are some things that you use a lot? So. I have a lot of women that work for me. Lululemon is an example.
So I have the list.
Go for it.
Uber, Hulu, Netflix, Starbucks. I said Shell because we go to the Shell a lot. Amazon, Palm Beach Tan. That was mine because that's where I tan. T-Slim or Tandem. That's Weston's insulin pump. Medtronic. LaCroix, because I drink a lot of LaCroix. Dexcom, that's his glucose monitor. Tesla, Target, Kroger, Home Depot, Lowe's, Spotify, Facebook, Weight Watchers, Sam's, Johnson & Johnson.
That's awesome. So I love that you kept that. My point was, this was an hour-long conversation with the team about, hey, so what are some things that you might consider if you take that Warren Buffett approach of like invest what you use? Well, half of the things that was written down by the team, they're not actually a company. They're owned by a company. Right. So now you got to do research. Well, you want to invest in this product, but who's the company owner that you would actually invest in, right?
And who's public and who's private?
Who's public and who's private? What's the ticker? The follow-up homework was get the ticker symbols and find out what the price is. Well, if you have $250 each in an E-Trade account and you want to invest in Amazon, not going to work, right? Like you can
I didn't know that. I mean, I knew they were high. I knew that
Tesla over $1,000, depending on what day you're watching this. I think it was $1,400 the last time I looked at it. So the point is that when you start to look at and do the research, like, oh my God, like I could have half of a share or one share, or I can buy 500 shares. Then we got conversations about penny stocks and the difference between, under $1 and over $1 and what that all looks like. And then we got to talk about what the Fortune 500 really is and what NASDAQ is and S&P is. And so it was a conversation that was allowed because it was my money. Like here, like literally the analogy I gave to my entire team was, have any of you guys been to Vegas before? And they're like, yes. And I've got a lot of great looking girls on my team and some great guys. And I'm sure that they've all had this happen. And if you're a viewer, as a guy, it never happened to you, but as girls, this might have. Have you ever been at a Vegas table and the person next to you rolling and you're rolling hot? So the person sitting next to you just throws an extra chip. It's like, it's always more fun to gamble with somebody else's money, right? So that was the analogy I used is, hey, like use somebody else's money. It's mine.
Yeah.
So you get to invest it, but you have to invest it. And so now whenever I want to, I can kind of weave in and out and say, hey, out of curiosity, how's your E-Trade going? And so it's funny that you brought it up. In fact, I can see it in front of you. They actually are interested in what's happening with the market.
Totally.
Which guess what? In the mortgage world, it matters to know what's happening in the market, right? So
just little stuff. Like I didn't know. I thought penny stocks were 1 penny. I did not understand the difference. I'm going to show my ignorance, right? That was new information. The public versus private, huge, like learning which ones those were, learning what the symbols were, and then learning like there's 3 places to trade, like there's the Dow and then the NASDAQ and then the S&P. Like I knew those names.
Yeah, it's just different groupings of companies, and that's a whole different conversation. But
I didn't know that
education, yes,
right? I didn't know that. So super interesting. And the other thing that was really fun about this was because it wasn't my money, it allowed me to operate outside of my normal behaviors.
Comfort zones,
right?
Yeah.
So what I mean by that is, I have very low risk tolerance, especially when it comes to money. And so in a normal world, I would definitely find super safe companies that have, just a steady growth pattern, very safe. And I'd probably buy like 5 of those. Like I'm going to do like 20 shares here at this company and 20, that is how that would be normal. what this allowed me to do was do something completely different, that if it works out, high risk, high reward, doing something different, like it has a better chance of it. So I found a psychedelic company that they're researching and developing.
Do not say the name, by the way.
Why?
Because we're not promoting it. But
well,
yes.
Maybe I am.
No.
Right? Because something doesn't that you drive the price up by the amount of people that want it, right?
That's true.
Okay. Can you please go visit my personal social media pages?
That's funny.
Anyway, so I ran across this company, and I had read about psychedelics and the use of them in a couple of books. And then in some of the TV shows I watched, there was episodes about it. I find it fascinating. It's very interesting, but they're being used to treat anxiety and depression, ADHD, addiction, all these things. So I'm like, screw it. I'm just going to buy. Oh, and they just started trading 1 week before they just went public 1 week before I bought these. So they were very low. They were penny stocks. And so
if they run, you crush it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, it's very uneventful to look at.
How often do you and your husband talk about it?
Daily.
That's interesting. And how often did you ever talk about it prior to getting?
Never. I didn't even know he had a trade account.
And business owners.
Yeah.
It costs $250 to get that level of engagement.
Yeah.
Like that's worth it.
I mean,
right?
And that's why this was so funny. I mean, the other day on our coaching call, you said, well, like, what's doing well right now? And I'm like, I had no idea what answer you were looking for, or even like the general realm. But Randy had just told me that Tesla had been on a tear for the last, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I don't know. I hear Tesla's doing pretty damn good. And you were like, yeah, transported, whatever. I can't remember how I'm like, oh my gosh. I got the right answer, funny. And I didn't know, just because of a conversation that Randy and I had.
That's one great idea, I think. And as we move forward, if my team keeps on enjoying it, it's an opportunity for me to, if we have a great month, I can bonus into the E-Trade account. If I'm not doing debt reduction or something like that. This all goes back to just getting people curious, get them interested. Yeah. And it helps both sides, right? The last thing that I want to talk about is the giving side too, right? Because especially this day and age, there's so many studies about employees that you care about the community. They care that you care, right?
It's very big with the millennials.
And very big with millennials. And how do most people, if they're charitable at all, donate? And the answer typically is time, right? Because if they are tight on their budget because they don't budget, but they care about their community, going to Earth Day or going down to Christmas to wrap presents or going to feed the homeless or whatever, are all great activities. They all cost money. Yeah. All of them, right?
And I would say outside of dollars, that is the best thing you can give. I mean, if you can't give money, then giving time is huge.
Absolutely, because somebody can wrap for free or somebody can wrap for a couple bucks an hour, but it costs money. So all that being said, my buddy Chris Hawker came up with something that I think is super cool. It's called The Nudge. Awesome. And you can visit him on his social media page. He owns a company called Red Wagon Realty. He and I talked about it in a coaching group. And then so I did it as well for Christmas. And all the nudges is it's so cool to see what people want to do. And we've seen actually your CPA buddy.
Michael Perkins.
Did it too with his entire company. But you talk about getting engagement, like there's nothing better that I've seen. And so all it was is, for example.
Not all it was. Like, don't diminish it at all. It's such a big deal.
That's cool. So coming up with a dollar amount that you can donate anyway. So I have a budget annually that I want to give away for funds. So instead of just giving it to things that I care about, I wanted to give, again, my money away to things that my team cared about. And that's what Chris Hawker did with the Nudge. And what it is coming up with $500 or $1,000 or whatever amount of money you're going to give away anyways to your team, with the explicit instructions of this needs to be given to a charity or two of your choice. And what Chris did that was pretty cool is say, I want you to use this to figure out how to raise more money than the $500 that it was.
Well, actually, some of his employees came up. They decided, okay, well, he gave us this. We're going to join forces. Yeah. And double our money now, and then go together.
And some of them did matching funds, so they were dealing with the charity. And if you donated money to this charity, then we'll match it. So that money turned into, and so one of them used that as seed money to start a golf tournament or something like that.
A concert
that was like $20,000 from this $500. And, just educating people on the need to give, and, that it is possible no matter what your income is to take what is seemingly an insignificant amount of money and make it into something that matters and moves the needle for some of these organizations. I think it's critical.
And the reach across San Antonio is what I found incredibly impressive.
Yes.
Because the whole thing with Chris's nudge was that it was documented.
Yep.
And so he had a professional videographer come in and show him announcing, but also had everybody document with their phones, like recording what they were doing and who they were giving to and the day that they gave. And when you put it all together like that,
was beautiful.
Like watching like the spread of across San Antonio of the amount of companies and organizations that were
benefactors.
Yes, like just incredible.
Excuse me.
And so then you have, so now we have this documented, and of course, you share it on social, and you
Do you think the company got some love from that?
Yes.
What's cool is that it was given with an open heart.
Yeah.
And I guarantee it'll come back tenfold.
It will. But here's the other thing too. And I remember we had a conversation about this. It was, he's like, I really would love to see people replicate this. And he said, do I need to explicitly say that in the video? I said, you don't, because the people that are supposed to hear it, they hear it. And what's been really cool is to watch the amount of companies that have taken this on. So Michael Perkins did it, you did it. And I think he's had like 6 other business owners share this. And so talk about a freaking movement. I mean, now we're impacting a lot of people.
And so this goes back to, if we haven't convinced you as a business owner, there are so many benefits to taking interest in the finances of your people. It is, you talk about like what you personally get out of it, like the gift of giving, the warmth that you get when you see somebody go from being an in-debt employee to an out-of-debt, an employee that has never owned a house, that buys a house because they're finally in position, the kid that goes to college that actually has funds available for their college of choice that they wouldn't have, giving away and impacting organizations that you thought you would have a menial impact on. That's a massive impact because of that leverage. There are so many benefits to teaching and educating your employees. And so I'd highly encourage you to do that. But if you like this episode, if you have an employer that needs to hear this, if you have a friend that's a business owner, please like, share, subscribe. If you have questions or comments, what's our email address?
sigmansense@gmail.com.
And we're here to help you out. But God bless you. Take care. Bye-bye.